Bring the meeting to order. February 6, 2024, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer by Steve Bailey. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interests of those residents here, Lord, and keep in mind your guidance as you've given it to us. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, as you can see, I'm in order or in charge today because it seems like the commissioners have misinformed me because 1 week Steve's in Florida, the next week Stan's in Florida, then Steve's in Florida, then Stan's in Florida. I'm thinking, wait a minute, what are you guys doing? You cheating me out of something? But oh well.
Next week, the reporters are gonna be in Cancun.
Okay. All right, well, we'll get this meeting started. Steve, did you happen to look at the minutes?
I did make a motion of approval.
I'll second. Mr. Bass. Got anything, Tony?
I have several things. First thing is the weekly health insurance claims. Those are in the amount of $14,122.42. Medical was $44,108.75. We had voids of $29,986.33, which left a total of $14,122.42. And I signed it after verifying that they are permits.
Tell me again the number, Tony.
$14,122.42.
Make a motion to approve that, those claims.
Second. Motion passed.
I had a question on that. If you just give them the names afterward and they think of it.
Yeah.
Okay, then they don't even know it now. Okay. I passed out to you prior to the meeting the animal shelter report submitted by Mike and Cindy Heiser. I left a copy over there for the press.
Yeah, you got it. Make a motion to accept this animal shelter report.
Second.
Okay. I had scanned and emailed each of you the monthly clerk report. We want to,
Make that motion.
Second.
I did receive that.
I did too.
try not to sneeze. Okay. We have, I think we do this every year, Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, but the hospital sends over a uniform conflict of interest disclosure statement that the commissioners have to approve, be entered into the record. I send a copy back to Adam Miller. He then sends that to the state, or puts it on Gateway or whatever he does.
Yep.
So we have two uniform conflict of interest disclosure statements, one for David McIntyre and one for Dr. Scott Lehman. Let's see where you sign here. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like there's two for each, one for us to keep and one for me to send back to Adam. I'm just looking to see where you sign. There we go. So on the second page on each of these, you'll have four altogether to sign.
So we're just accepting.
We're just accepting or approve entering them into the minutes for their conflict of interest.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Like I say, there's four different pages to sign. We're having a lull here, Ed. You want to sing a song or something?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. I've seen pictures of you performing on stage. It was a while back, but
100 years ago.
How's your son doing? Are you doing more plays, more plays? You do it.
he is, yes, he's getting ready to do, he is playing Dick Cavett.
Oh, Steve,
And another lady is playing Kate Hepburn, and he's going to interview Kate Hepburn down there.
that's pretty good.
Fishers, I think.
Yeah. You know, Dick, Johnny Carson both came from Nebraska.
Is that right?
Born in Nebraska. Amazing. Two big stars. I can believe.
My cousins used to go out, we used to go out there all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next thing on the agenda is the county property and casualty insurance. Actually, it's not on the agenda, but I'm having you come up now.
Hey.
As you guys are aware, they were here last week.
Hey, what?
Going over some things. The renewal date is coming up very quickly. And
Steve. Morning.
they have their presentation.
Thank you.
So before we start going through all this stuff, just wanted to thank Tony and Shannon and all the other department heads for getting us all the, I mean, there's just a ton of information that has to be brought in. So they were very great to work with this year, very responsive in getting us all of that information. So we wanted to thank them for all of their hard work as well. So really appreciate that. So.
On the second, or the, I guess inside the cover there, the first page is the final Liberty Mutual renewal offer. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 policies total that we have with Liberty Mutual that are laid out there. And we just kind of made a summary page of what all's covered under each of those policies. And at the bottom, you can see what their total renewal premium is, $454,000. For everything but the property, pretty much all the coverage stayed the same. If you look under the property section, the second bullet point there references the deductibles. And last year, the deductible was $5,000 for any type of loss. And this year, they're renewing it with a $25,000 deductible, $100,000 deductible on the courthouse specifically, and then $50,000 for water damage per location and $100,000 wind hail per location. So those are some big, big changes. When last year you had a $5,000 deductible for everything. So what we mentioned last week was once we found out they were going to make some of these changes back at the beginning of January, we started talking to Cincinnati Insurance to possibly write the property only with them. So on the second, or I guess it'd be the third page, the next page, there's some bullet points there about Cincinnati's quote. So their property premium is $110,000 versus Liberty's premium of $90,000. However, their deductible, the second bullet point, is $25,000 per occurrence period, not per location, and $5,000 for property in the open and for the contents of the buildings. So there's a significantly less risk for the county because of that. And then also, the first bullet point there, it says the total building limit with Cincinnati is $7 million. And you can see with Liberty, the first bullet point shows their total building limit is $54 million. So Cincinnati's also giving $13 million more in coverage on all the buildings. So a lot of that is on the courthouse specifically, but then some of it is on some of the other buildings as well. So you guys kind of asked us to bring a recommendation to you today. So that's what's at the bottom half of that page. We would recommend changing the property coverage from Liberty Mutual to Cincinnati and keep all the other policies with Liberty Mutual because of those 2 points, more coverage on the buildings and less risk with lower deductibles for a total annual premium of $475,000. The last page is just details on all the locations that we have insured, and then you can see that on the right, the columns, it shows what Liberty Mutual is covering each building for and what Cincinnati's covering each building for, and how we came up with those total numbers of 54 million and 67 million. So we're not going to walk through all the detail of that right now, but just if you wanted to see it, that's how it breaks down. And one other thing that I'll mention, if you go back to the Liberty Mutual page, their total premium we showed there is $454,000. Their initial renewal quote was $531,000. So we've worked with them over the last 2 weeks and put some pressure on them to try and get that down, because that was a massive increase from where we were last year. It's a large increase, but they came down about $75,000 because they want to retain the business and try and keep a long-term partnership, but they're just getting so much pressure from the market, which Matt can kind of give you guys some insight on the market in general. But we were happy to see them try and work with us on that some and relieve some of that pressure. So
Can you refresh my memory what this was last year?
we're about 334, 335.
So if we pull the property away from Liberty Mutual and give it to Cincinnati, is that going to cause the rates to go up on Liberty
Good
Mutual?
question.
No, no, that's not.
They've
that's
agreed
not
to
gonna
keep
affect
them
it.
the same.
So they know we have that option to do that.
Yeah, we told them that from the beginning. Yep. Yeah, we had the same question for them, and they said they'd keep the other lines the same.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but regardless if we would have become the broker, this same thing would have happened.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, Star would be sitting here today. They'd have the same premiums from Liberty. They would have had the same initial renewal offer. And we've tried to work on it hard for the last month to come up with the best option given what we had to work with. And it's a large increase, but I feel like it came to a pretty good solution. Matt, you want to chime in as to the market in general?
Yeah, so I've kind of been the 30,000 foot view on all this. These guys have done all the legwork on this, but I've been in this business 30 years. I've never seen a shift like this, just industry-wide and across to the wider spectrum than just Indiana. Liberty Mutual, companies gauge what they take their losses, put all that into their operation costs, and then end up with a ratio, what they call a combined ratio. Anything below 1 is a good year. Anything above 1 is a bad year. Right now, the industry as a whole is running about 1.2. So they're hemorrhaging cash on claims, and a lot of it in Indiana has been because of wind and hail. We've got hit with some pretty big storms. The cost of materials, the cost of repairs has skyrocketed, and they're getting hit by that. So their response is, we can't continue to be a 120 combined. So the only way we're going to stop this is we're going to push back. We'll still write the risk, but you're going to go to a $100,000 deductible of everything like that. I think it's unacceptable. So that's why these guys went and found other options in the market. Literally one claim, and you'll recoup your additional premium because of those high deductibles. I don't think it's a long-term really problem potentially, but 2 years ago, we ended the municipal risk pool in the state of Indiana because nobody was in it. We said there's no need for it, let's get rid of it, and we sunset that. Unfortunately, there's now a need again. And actually, when I was down in Indianapolis, I had two brokers reach out and said, we have counties now that are being non-renewed or cannot get a renewal quote. And it's usually around two things, law enforcement and property. And so if you have another property market, that's one thing. There's no one filling the law enforcement gap. So we actually, this past week, met with the Department of Insurance to restart up the risk retention pool for municipalities. I hope that's not where people get pushed, but it has to be there for those entities that don't have an option. Fortunately, you have options. I think they're good options. But the state of the market is such that I'd be nice to tell you that next year you won't see this again. I think it's a reaction to the 1.2. And I think if they can level off in 24, I think you'll start seeing more flat renewals. And also, you're starting to see companies exit municipalities. I think a good year may keep them in. And then that opens up, if we come back next year it'd be a good time to maybe, what our commitment was when we got this account was we'll go back and remarket this if we can get that competitive market. It's not there now, but a year from now, we'll see. And if it's there, we'll absolutely get a competitive quote.
As I recall, when we went with Liberty last year, Liberty was significantly less than the incumbent carrier, almost
100,000.
Yeah. So that was, so we reaped that benefit at least for 1 year. Now we're probably back about where we were at last year's renewal time with the incumbent carrier anyway. So,
Probably.
yeah.
What other questions do you guys have? Another thing to know is, I forgot to mention, is the mobile equipment or the contractor's equipment, which mainly affects the highway department.
Mhm.
Cincinnati's offering a $2,500 deductible on all that equipment, and Liberty's is a $5,000 deductible for anything under 100,000 in value, and $10,000 deductible for anything over 100,000 in value. So there's just multiple things where, like Matt said, one claim potentially could recoup that additional premium.
Now, Mark, since the policies are different, can we take the higher of the two?
Yeah, it's professional services, so you
Okay.
can pick the best. You can pick the coverage that you think is the best for the county.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Make a motion that we accept the recommendation of our broker and go with Cincinnati Insurance for the property coverage, and then stay with Liberty Mutual for all the other coverages that are listed for a total premium of $475,410.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Are you okay with us revisiting this next year? Last week, we
Please do.
talked a little bit about maybe looking at it in 6 months. It's still a high premium, but given that Liberty came down as much as they did, we don't think it's going to justify doing it midterm. So if that's okay with you
Yeah,
guys, we'll
I think we just wait to the normal.
Yeah.
But
we'll have a
let's,
lot.
take a hard look at it again
Yeah,
before,
this
before
year
the next
we'll
year's
have a
annual
lot
renewal.
more time to, send things out a lot earlier than what we did this year. So
Yeah.
especially knowing that we have everything, all the information with us now. So it's a lot easier for us to do that. So,
Good.
And each of those companies will be sending us an invoice to my office to pay
yes.
separately.
Yeah.
And I know that came back to you and you sent
You
us.
said Cincinnati. Does
Yeah,
that have
there's
an
a little
official name?
confusion on that stuff. So Cincinnati
I
Insurance.
guess we'll wait till we get the invoice paid.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
That's just for the property.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
For all of their equipment.
Okay,
Yes.
Nate, you're up.
For the little itty bitty amount of premium that thing is? Yeah. It's a big deal. Yeah, that's definitely a good. Okay, good.
Good morning.
Morning.
A couple of different items here, not too much on the list. We got a lot of conversations going on here.
We'll listen closely. Go
All
ahead.
right. Small structures and culverts inspection. I know we talked about this for a couple different meetings. I do have a signed contract from Jansen and Spons Engineering, who had done our inspection cycle the last time, and they absorbed the firm that did it prior to that. They have proposed this as part of 2 phases, rather than trying to sign a 6-year contract. It seemed like it was more prudent to go with 2 3-year contracts. This covers half of the county geographically, so you got 6 townships in this first cycle. This would cover Blue Creek, Monroe, St. Mary's, Union, Kirkland, and Washington townships. 2 townships would be covered in each year of the contract. Total of the 3 years in phase 1 is for $78,097.96, with 2024's total being $28,234.96. The reason the first year is larger, one is just the number of structures, but also part of that is front-loaded is to get all of the records that they gave us in paper copy digitally, and they will upload the old inspections into our GIS system. So we'll work with Ethan getting a system in place to do that. So if you're willing to approve that contract, then I just request or recommending approval from the commissioners, and then I'll send that back and we'll start that for this year.
Jens, I can spell it, Jens.
Do you know, is this in the budget?
It
We
would
need to
be,
think about financing.
it's within the budget of our professional services.
Okay.
So I've got enough money in
That's what we're
the
looking at.
contract for this year to cover that. So.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
You've got a couple of documents up here. Does
There's
somebody
2
need to
copies.
sign
That's what's in the
these?
binders there. So the blue tab is the signature page. So I'll
Okay.
just need a signed copy, and then a
Okay,
copy can go to Tony.
you're the man. I think you have to sign today, maybe.
Yep, I think that falls on Steve.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Too many jokes. All right. Next piece is just a little update for you. Jefferson Street Bridge here in Decatur, the log jams that are always seem to be a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
I did get a request from the city of Decatur to remove the stockpile that's kind of created long over, it's not 1 year, we've got many years, maybe even many decades pile there. So the city has asked that the debris pile be removed. I did reach out to the city requesting permission to take the debris pile to their compost site, since they clean up the
Sure.
compost debris, and they did
Good
agree.
idea.
So they'll let us take the trees of the future in that stockpile over to them. They'll let it set and dry, and then annually they will shred that for mulch. So it kind of works out in both of ours best interest. It gives us a spot to take it, so
Don't have
that
to take
we're
it
not
far.
hauling it out. Now, it's gonna be a bit, the proposal I have is for $12,000 to remove the entire stockpile,
Mhm.
because it's gonna be cut to fit on a truck, hauled across the bridge over to the stockpile. And we're also going to remove what log jams are down there again already. So, just wanted you to understand that. I will probably go to a city meeting, kind of thanking them for cooperating with us in that, because that does save us quite a bit, because we'd have to organize another place to dispose those if we didn't work that out with the city. So, but just wanted to let you know, I'll probably authorize that agreement to go forward.
It's funny how you're always learning this job. I always assumed that that was part of the responsibility of the city to get that log jam cleared.
Nope, it's our bridge,
I
and
hear ya.
it's the fun of the Cume Bridge Fund, but,
Okay.
it's all right. It's part of their job. I didn't realize that, the stockpile had grown over so many years. They just assumed that we cleaned it up all the time, and when I was asking those who have cleaned it, they're like, we haven't taken it, that's decades, maybe 20 years of trees
Wow.
there. So, it won't get built up that bad in the future. How's that? So, it kept our costs low, but, it's not the prettiest thing. You just kind of moved it up and out of the waterway. So, but we'll take care of it, and it'll be a nicer appearance. So, but that's all I had, and I'll take that. Thank you.
Not one of them, but
I think you just needed his signature.
Yep, there should only be one signature on
Yes.
that. So, yep. And then you can keep an original if you sign both then.
Yep.
So there's your copy of it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you, Nate. All right, Highway Department.
Morning, guys. Thanks for coming.
Wouldn't miss it.
Such an exciting way to start your Tuesday.
That's all right. Might be 2 there, don't get 2.
Feels like it.
Sir?
You want to bid caption?
On the beach? Yeah, I got one. Oh, my gosh. We'll give you a good story.
You did one, did you, Tony? You want a bid sheet?
Not if you will get
We'll
me,
get them.
get me one.
All right. Good morning, and we're going to open up the quotes for the bush hog mower first. And those are on the top of the list. And the first one we have is from Paul Ride and Ball Equipment Corporation out of Decatur. And I have their non-collusion. And their total bid price is $31,000. 31,000 even.
What size mower is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's a 15-foot batwing bush hog mower.
What we do our side ditch mowing with.
Be like a trifold, if that's what you call it.
Right, so that's same with all of them?
Yeah, it'll be the same, yep.
Yep.
The next one,
That's diameter, right?
it's 15-foot total width. Yeah. And the next one is from, hopefully I say it right, Rupley Farm Equipment out of Columbia City. I have their non-collusion. And their bid is $30,284.36. $30,284.36.
Will all these be delivered, or what's the delivery on those?
Yeah, they'll be delivered. They're expected to be delivered to the Adams County Highway Department.
Okay.
The next one is from Hall Brothers Incorporated out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. And I have their non-collusion. And their bid is $42,100. $42,100.
Does it surprise you that there's that much spread? Wow.
Yeah, because it's the same.
Yes.
I'm calling the same
There's
specs.
nothing,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing that
Same piece of
complicated to
equipment,
it.
yeah.
All right, the next one, we are not sure of. It just came in at the last minute. It is from Technology International out of Lake Mary, Florida.
I'll go down and pick that up for you.
That's the extent
Just talk
Hey,
to Stan.
Trip.
Stan's probably
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I've been to Lake Mary, Florida. We can do that.
Your turn, Steve.
It's my turn, remember?
You had a business trip down there, right?
Technology. Is that Technology International?
Yeah, that's Technology International, but I do not see a non-collusion. Their bid though was $31,800. $31,800.
Nice to have more bids. Looks like you get a road trip to Columbia City.
Hey, wherever it is, if you want us to go pick it up, it's like, so, believe that is all them for the bush hog batwing mower. And so with your permission, we'd like to take them under advisement, and it'll be the 20th till we would bring it back for recommendation.
Make a motion, we can take those under advisement.
Second.
All right, the next items is a skid loader and mini excavator. And we actually have a couple of representatives here today from a couple different companies, so I'd like to thank them for their interest. The first one is Juice Bomb Mechanical out of Bern, Indiana. They have their non-collusion. 275, is that the skid loader? Should be. Yeah. So that should be the total. Yeah, that's the deal. So it's, what we're looking at is since it's two pieces.
Sure.
He didn't give us a total for both, so we're figuring that out quick. $159,843. $159,843.
And what size skid and mini excavator?
The mini is,
Mini is a 46 horse or bigger with a 12-foot minimum reach, dig depth, and the skid loader is a 75 horse minimum on tracks.
and the mini will have a 24-inch and a 36-inch bucket to dig with.
Okay.
I don't remember how big the bucket is. The next one we have is from Bobcat out of Fort Wayne. And we have their non-collusion. Total is $154,348.16. $154,348.16. The next one we have is from McAllister's out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I have their non-collusion.
That's for the.
The total from McAllister's is $196,776.29. $196,776.29. And the final one we have is from True Land Equipment out of Bluffton, Indiana. And I have their non-collusion. Come on. Yeah. Is that
For the mini, for the mini.
that is, yes. Yeah, and the one home.
Okay.
And this will be John Deere, by the way. And the total is $171,939.49. $171,939.49.
And we'll be looking into them because we had talked about renewing,
Right.
trading every year, release and all that. So that'll all be taken into factor when we.
So yes, there again, if we have permission to take them under advisement, till the 20th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. Now, you said that the skid loader is gonna be 75 or above, so are you gonna take that if like one comes in at 80 horse and the other one comes in at 77 horse?
We had a minimum horse.
Okay. you
Yeah,
had a
they just had to
minimum.
meet a minimum.
Okay. Same with the mini excavator.
Yes.
then? Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so other than that, real quick, just a couple things. Kind of told you last week that, oh yeah, they approved that.
Okay.
Been watching some House bills and the one of them, the House Bill 1185, which was the share of road and street miles is normally how they figure out our MVH, or local road and streets. And they're looking at changing that to vehicle miles traveled. And don't know how they're gonna do it yet. They're leaving that up to like NDOT or somebody else, but there's been nothing on it. It's still alive, but there hasn't been any action on it since the 9th of January, so we'll see. And then the other one I thought was interesting was House Bill 1429, low water crossings. So if you have areas that are flood prone, your roads and that, they're actually gonna allow you to start using the community crossings grant funds and other available grant funds to improve those
Low water
areas.
crossings, huh?
So, just a little tidbit. I've been watching some of that, so, yeah. Other than that, that's all we got.
Okay.
Thanks,
Robert. All right, moving rapidly on. Rick stopped in and said he really didn't have anything for us from building and maintenance. He had some projects he was working on, so he won't be with us. So we'll go with Ed. You got anything?
I do. And we'll take, gentlemen, good morning.
Morning.
Beginning of the month, and we have the month-end report for January of 24. I think Tony's given you a copy of it all. Everything's there, everything balances, and I'm here to answer any questions. Of course, we had the financial board meeting last week and went over the entire year, but this is the first month of 24 and never stops. Lots of numbers. Everything balances.
Good. Make motion to accept?
Second.
Okay. Last week, we had talked about the cabling, and you guys approved a bond, or not a bond, a invoice to allow the cabling for our credit card readers.
Mhm.
And they are going to start that tomorrow morning. So I'm glad they're getting on the project quick. I don't know if it's gonna take a day, 2 days, how long it's gonna take, because it has to go from the server room through everything and into our complex there. So that starts tomorrow morning. The commissioner's certificate sale last week, we had bids on all 3 parcels that were offered. I was pleasantly surprised on that. So that system works, and they paid for them, and so we're up and running on that. So that was good. With that, and then the parcel on Monmouth Road, we are in control of that completely now, and Mark's working his way through all the legalese on that to get all that all taken care of. Then I also want to mention Mary Beery and the assessor's office staff. There was 2 parcels on Highway 27 down in Geneva, right across from that big orange bridge. That is kind of a work in progress. It's been off the tax rolls for a while because a gentleman passed away and there was no heirs, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. I'm trying to get that back on the tax rolls. Find out that it is now under the control, I believe, of the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. It's designated as a woodland forest now, but we had to dig back 20-some years to find that out. Mark's all on top of that and working with the Indiana DNR, and it really doesn't matter because it's not anything that we would do. We were not going to get any taxes out of it anyway, unless we could get control of it and sell it to somebody, but they would just keep it in natural woodland as well. So it's 6 of one, a half dozen the other. We just want to get it cleaned up. And there's several parcels around the county that abandoned railroad property or abandoned this or that we're trying to get cleaned up. But we always have to do a lot of digging, but I want to thank Mary Berry and her staff's office. They did a real good job helping us out. Mark's on top of it all. That's all I have.
Good work. Hard to keep track of all those things, and thank you. No.
Thank you. Ed.
I'm sorry.
Michelle.
Hi,
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
good. I missed you guys last week at the
I know,
picture. I
I
sent
know.
like 30 emails.
You were on it.
I was
It's on
Tony
us.
was there in red, so he was like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
Starless.
And she brought me Girl Scout cookies.
I did. They're upstairs.
Funny.
Important stuff.
Yeah. So Adams County Transit is doing wonderful. Just a little bit of a breakdown. I wanted to show you guys trip numbers about the same versus January to January, but if you notice on the 2024 side, we were able to give 107 rides to employment. And I listed in that top paragraph some of the places that we took people so that they could have reliable transportation. And it's great because they give us their schedule a week or 2 in advance, and then they can count on us. And so Pizza Hut, Wendy's, a lot of the bi-county group homes were able to transport workers there, so now they're not short-staffed. Woodcrest Assisted Living, dialysis, you can see them all there, but it's been wonderful. We did have fewer medical trips this month than we did last year at this time, and I think that was due in part to the weather. Anytime that there's questionable weather, a lot of the seniors don't like to go out and take a chance, and I'm right there with them. If you notice in the orange boxes, it kind of breaks down kind of our trip numbers last year. Everyone was kind of clumped into the non-funded that weren't over 60, and now you can see the breakdown. We did take a baby. That's so exciting to WIC, but we have given 98 rides last month just for public. We gave 20 out of county. If someone wants to bring a caregiver with them to their appointment, as long as they get a note from the doctor, we let them ride for free. And we also have a Council on Aging employee that we've been taking, and we don't charge for that. It seems kind of redundant to charge her and then pay her. But she is actually blind and she is the new receptionist at the Merrick Center. So I have a desk for her. It's wonderful. And starting in January, any veteran, any Adams County veteran who has their service verified gets to ride for free within Adams County. There's no special funding for that. It's just another way to give back to veterans. I don't think we do enough for them, so it was just a small thing that I could do. If you flip it over the back, you can kind of see, it's crazy that the adults and the seniors, I had the exact same number of riders. We just added it in. So yay, 2024, we added one more person. And then the most exciting thing is the fairs. So the last 50 years, we've just been able to ask for suggested donations for the seniors and disabled trips, because we do get 3B money from the federal government and you're not allowed to charge a fare for those trips. Well, honestly, more times than not, we would rarely get what we would ask for a trip, just because people would give what they could. So it's still a suggested donation for seniors, but as far as the public fairs go, that's been a blessing to be able to actually get some money for those trips, and we're not always at a loss for those. So you can notice we're $1,000 more this month than we were last year at this time. So that's going to help sustain the program and keep it going, especially when we're in our 2-year trial phase with NDOT. NDOT came last week. Todd Jennings was here for the picture. Tony, you met him. He and I had to do a lesson or a PowerPoint after the picture, but he is so pleased with the amount of support we had. I mean, we had everybody represented. I couldn't get the town of Monroe, wasn't able to come, and I did invite them 3 times, but they had other commitments. But when I showed him our January trip numbers, we are already providing more trips than a handful of other counties in Indiana, and he projects our growth just to continue on, especially as the weather gets warm. So he could not be more pleased with us. He and I met for a couple hours then after the picture. So questions for me. I'm beyond thrilled. I'm excited. I appreciate the support. I think this is a huge blessing to Adams County to be able to offer transportation.
I do see the vehicles out there quite a bit when I'm running around.
Right.
All over the county.
Yes, and I do keep 3 down in Bern at the senior center. I rent an office there, and then the other 4 are up here. So I have 5 Bern drivers, so it makes sense to keep them down there. That way they're not backtracking. So yeah, things are going really well.
Well, thanks for all you do and your support and your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
We would be nowhere without your direct influence on what's going on here. Thank you, and it's only going to grow as word of mouth spreads.
Absolutely. I just ordered 2,000 business cards that have the QR code with all our flyer and stuff, so I can get those out to county more, out in the community. So
Steve, I just want to say, in the last 16 years in my position, we've dealt with these hurdles of transportation, getting clients to our office, getting them to appointments and such. This is one of the best things that's happened in Adams County as long as I can remember. It really changes Adams County and makes it a better place to live and a better place for people to be successful. So thank you, Michelle. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, commissioners, for backing her through this process, because we're just so thrilled.
Yeah, and I met with Dan Mayhor last week. He was in the building and we were talking, and he was talking about them possibly using commissary, I'm not sure what it is, funds to be able to purchase vouchers, because we have $5 vouchers available. I did contact the probation department, and I guess State Board of Accounts don't allow them to use vouchers, and I don't know if community correction doesn't. I know there's, I don't know.
We'll be working with you for vouchers for resilience court here real soon.
Awesome. So, and what that is like Love Inc. just bought $100 worth last week, and that just allows those moms and babies to get to their appointments or whatever they need. I mean, and there's just no excuse then anymore. I mean, that part of it's taken out. So
Transportation is such an impediment for folks that Ian work with, and you know, it's unfortunately, I just don't have an appreciation for what that's like to live in Adams County and not have transportation available to you. Maybe I should say fortunately, but I know it's there and I know it's a need, and thank you for all the work you've done to begin to fill that need.
yeah, it's a huge undertaking, I'll be honest. The big 18-page document I just got from NDOT last week has a month-by-month breakdown of what I need to do, so, yep, I'm busy with it, but it's worth it. The amount of people we've been able to help already is worth it, so. Any questions? I'm planning on coming once a month, if that's okay, just to wrap up. NDOT loved that idea, so I think
I
other
love your
counties.
report.
Love to hear from you.
It's very,
I didn't want to throw too much at you, but I do want you to see how much we are improving, so. Awesome, thanks.
thanks, Michelle.
Enjoy your cookies.
I
I'll see you tomorrow.
probably have to share them.
Lead bread.
Ian, you can come up later and have some Girl Scout cookies. if you want. Michelle, I thought, you think I'm not?
Mark, do you have anything for us?
Is there a color?
Yeah. let's see.
No, I was just trying to make it pretty.
It is.
So there's two out.
Yep, let me grab one.
Was in, he wasn't on that.
He was too late to get on the agenda. He went under other matters.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be after.
Yeah, the only thing I have is we've got, well, we need a list of names for appointment to the health board. We got a list of names, but I don't believe they meet the qualifications, so I've sent an email back to Ann here to make sure they do that. But that's all I've got right now.
That's all you got.
And
Okay.
7 vehicles.
We still need an appointment to sewer board, don't we? I don't believe we've made that appointment yet.
Yeah, I think we need to get some names for that.
Okay. Shannon, do you have anything? Nothing. Okay. Ian,
All right, so I'm just here because I've got a couple of conferences that I'd like to send staff to. It's going to require airfare and overnight travel, so I know it takes your blessing to make that happen. But I do want you to know that the expenses for these conferences that I'm going to tell you about are both covered by a grant that we received from the Indiana Office of Court Services. So it's paid for. It doesn't affect the county or community corrections budget. So the first one, the National All Rise Conference, is May 21st to the 26th in Anaheim, California. It's right next to Disneyland. I'm not able to go because of graduation the next week, but Judge Conrad and Madison Hake from my office would like to go. So looking at airfare, hotel, registration fees, estimated to be about $2,500 a person to go to that training. All Rise is formerly known as the National Association of Drug Court Professionals. They've kind of made All Rise now because it's more than just drug courts. It's all treatment courts that they specialize in. There'll be over 7,000 people attending this conference. It's ginormous. So I'd like your permission to move forward with booking the travel arrangements for Judge Conrad and for Madison Hake to go to that conference.
Motion approved.
second.
The second one's a little sooner. Now, All Rise is also having a conference in Oklahoma City. It's for practitioners. It's like for case managers and staff that work with these clients. I'd like to send Stephanie Beaver to this. It's March 18th to the 22nd. I estimate that one's going to cost about $2,000 for, it's funny, the airfare to Oklahoma City is more than it is to go to California.
It's me to haul.
I don't understand how they figure those rates, but again, that's covered with the grant.
That was a good question.
Motion approved.
Second.
I spent enough time in Oklahoma to know you can't get there from here, so
Yeah.
I get that.
Right? So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Okay. Anything else from the public?
Give me 1 second here. I'm asking
Oh.
a question.
We got one more thing here. That was the quickest to my last.
No, I think they gotta get approval today. Approval pursuant to that ordinance.
Pursuant, I can't remember the ordinance number. Pursuant to the ordinance on prior approval of payroll claims and such.
Yeah.
Next week you all aren't meeting, but we will have claims and payroll.
Okay.
So we would just need a motion to allow the prior approval, and then the following week, you'll have everything.
Make that motion.
Second.
We added payroll to that ordinance.
Yes,
We won't need to do that every month though, will we? Once we
it's
approved it, or will we?
more than 1 month, but it's not every month.
No, okay. Okay.
I'll bring this up for it's just like we did here, anytime we have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I think that the way it's worded, that you still, there still has to be either an approval or a pre-approval. And so in the case of claims that are to be paid, in the future, I think you have a motion to pre-approve those.
Okay.
Pre-approve those claims and
To
then
be presented after payment.
Well,
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Adjourn.